For 21 years, one bike has stood out as the most track-oriented 600cc in production, known for its lightweight, incredible handling, and screaming inline-4 engine. This is the history of Yamaha's iconic YZF R6. In 1984, Yamaha released their new XJ600, also known as the FJ600 in North America. This bike was relatively light and nimble and made a modest 72 horsepower using Yamaha's first 600cc inline-4 engine. Around this time, there was a huge increase in popularity of race replica or sport bikes. And to meet this demand, particularly for the 600cc class, Yamaha knew that the FJ600 wouldn't cut it. By 1986, their new bike was ready, and it was known as the FZ600. This bike used an engine derived from the previous FJ600, and it now featured a sportier, fully faired look. And while this bike was fun and nimble, it did lack horsepower, especially after Honda released the 600cc Hurricane in 1987.
Hurricane Honda.
So Yamaha took it back to the drawing boards, and in 1989, they released the new FZR600, which now featured a delta box frame to improve handling and reduce weight. The engine was also given a refresh and now made a respectable 91 brake horsepower, which was more than the Honda CBR 600F and Kawasaki GPZ 600R, making it the most powerful 600cc sport bike for its time. This superior performance helped this bike win the 1989 Daytona 600cc race, as well as back-to-back titles in AMA. And Yamaha stuck with the FZR 600 all the way until 1996, when it was replaced by the YZF 600R Thundercat, which wasn't a bad bike as it had slight racing success, but it really couldn't compete with Honda's CBR 600 or Kawasaki's new ZX6R. And Yamaha knew that to make a competitive 600cc race bike, they'd have to design something new. Led by Kunihiko Miwa, Yamaha planned to revolutionize their sport bike lineup. And in 1998, they unveiled the new YZF R1. And 1 year later, in 1999, the very first Yamaha R6 hit the 600cc market, along with the incredibly rare R7. No, not this R7. This one. But that bike will get a video of its own. The brand new R6 took the world by surprise. It featured a 599cc carbureted inline-4 engine producing roughly 120 horsepower with a dry weight of about 373 pounds, making it both the lightest and most powerful 600cc for its time. From the start, Yamaha wanted to make it clear that their approach to a 600cc sport bike was to make no compromises to its racing capabilities. Aside from a few tweaks in 2001, the Yamaha R6 remained mostly the same. But in 2003, Yamaha delivered, with slight aesthetic updates, but more significantly, Yamaha introduced fuel injection to the R6, bumping it up 3 horsepower. Additionally, Yamaha gave this bike a lighter frame, swing arm, and wheels, dropping its weight by 16 pounds. And in 2005, this bike got another refresh, with updates to the frame, brakes, and suspension. But this new version of the R6 only lasted a year, because in 2006, the R6 received its biggest update so far. The 2006 version came with a complete cosmetic redesign, which many people, myself included, believe to be the best looking body style of any R6 generation. And along with these cosmetic changes, Yamaha made the bike the first production motorcycle to feature a fly-by-wire throttle system, and the engine on the R6 also got a bigger bore and shorter stroke, which bumped up its horsepower from 123 to 127 and solidified the R6's signature peaky power band. Hear that? That's the sound of a 17,500 RPM redline. Except, it isn't. You see, while this new R6 was undoubtedly the best version of the bike so far, it was about to put a smear on Yamaha's reputation. The tachometer on the 2006 model showed a redline of 17,500 RPM, and this claim was even backed by Yamaha themselves. Except, it was all a lie, and the bike's true redline was somewhere around 15,800 RPM. And to save face, Yamaha offered to buy back these R6s. But thankfully for Yamaha, this didn't detract much from the success of the new bike, especially after they fixed the issue the next year. And over the years, the R6 continued to receive small updates until 2010, where it was left unchanged for the next 7 years, during which the bike saw plenty of racing success. But finally, in 2017, Yamaha released their final 4th gen R6, which closely resembled the incredibly successful redesign of the R1 just 2 years prior. Along with a cosmetic redesign, the new R6 featured much of the electronics we see in sport bikes today. The Gen 4 lived all the way until 2020, the last year where you could buy a street legal R6. And prices of used R6s have gone through the roof since then. As a testament to its legacy, the R6 has been dominating the Isle of Man TT in these years following the end of its production. It currently holds the lap record for the Supersport class and has won first place in every Supersport class event since 2020, which was the first year the TT was held since the R6 was discontinued. And while you can still buy a track-only version in some parts of the world, many people are upset about this, since the R6 represented the pinnacle of a 600cc track bike, or just a track bike in general. And unlike the other 600s, which are more well-rounded bikes, Yamaha really put all their points into track capability with the R6. But the story doesn't quite end there. Just recently, in fall 2024, Yamaha released the new R9, which many people are comparing as the successor of the R6. And while these bikes have their pros and cons when compared to each other, many people believe that the R9 falls short and can't fill the shoes of the R6. As the R6 continues to age, there's no doubt that it will continue to be a highly sought after bike at the top of many enthusiasts' lists.